Hi there, and welcome back to another episode at Station Road. Now, you're probably wondering, what on earth am I doing sitting in my car? So, as the name suggests for the title of this video, this is a wee behind the scenes look at where the Station Road layout actually sits. So a few people have asked over the years, where is the Station Road layout in relation to where I live and where it is on the property? So no, I don't have to drive anywhere to get to my layout, but if we swivel the camera around this way, we can see some garage doors. So the layout is hiding in there. So of course there is going to be a lot of handheld camera footage, so if you get a little bit squeamish with camera movement, then maybe it might be worth going and grabbing yourself a bucket. So let's go and have a wee recce around where the Station Road layout is located. Right, so we'll get out of the car, and our layout is in here. So I'm fortunate enough to have a double garage, and when of course we bought this property some years back, I did promise to Sarah that she would be able to park her car, but as we can see, it kind of hasn't really eventuated. So if we just head around this way, so this is our humble abode here, and of course our garden and so forth through that way, but our layout is down this way. So rubbish bin storage here, and through to the back of the property, and gosh, that fence really does need a lick of paint on it. So our layout is simply in here. Now, as I mentioned, the intention was that this half of the garage would actually be usable for a vehicle, but it's kind of not happened. So this scene, of course, most of you will be familiar with, and of course here is the layout. And there has been a few changes since I've last taken footage in here. Finally got rid of an old couch that used to sit in here, and some more hand-me-down furniture has come out of the house and is now ideally suited for the storage that I need for all my model railway activities. So it's a real hodgepodge of shelves and drawers in here, but it works for me. I'm not too phased about having some kind of uniform storage. So we have bookcases and chest of drawers, and they're all just chock-a-block full of tools and modelling gear. We've got our drop saw there, which I haven't actually used in quite a while, but it does come in handy. And then over this way, of course, more shelves, and once again all hand-me-down furniture from in the house. Some stuff has been cut up to suit the space, and a few domestic items in here. We've got a upright freezer, our dryer, and of course there's another chest freezer over there. So it's not entirely model railway related, and of course, as I said in a previous video, that I rule this garage. This is my domain, and my wife Sarah rules the house. So over here we've got a workbench with a scattering of tools and things, and of course this does get a lot of activity, this workbench. There is a lift out piece here, or bench top, which is currently sitting over behind here, and that occasionally I put in position here, and you'll see me doing video work from here as well. And then we've got an old iMac computer which occasionally use for searching up items and things like that. Got our all-important stereo for background music, and then of course the layout and the control area. So that's simply where the layout is located. And with a double garage, people are probably thinking, well, why don't you just go completely nuts and build a massive layout in here? And yeah, it's tempting, but it would just become unmanageable. I think I've got enough on my plate without making this layout any bigger. So up on the roof, we've got storage up here, which is quite eclectic, and then we have got a uninsulated ceiling. So I have actually put polystyrene slabs in there to help with the insulation a little bit, but it helps a little bit. Here in Christchurch, we can get into the mid-30s Celsius in the summertime, and being a tin roof with tin doors or aluminium doors, the internal temperature in this garage can get up to the 40s or just over. And then of course in the winter time here it can be quite cold. We can get into the negative degrees Celsius for overnight, and it can be absolutely freezing in here during the winter months. So currently we're in autumn at the moment, so it is starting to get cooler, but it's still workable in here. So if we head out the door again, and of course you can see down there, we head down towards the veggie garden. Of course we've got the wood shed, a little bike shed and so forth there. And then if I swing around here, this is where my office is. So some of you may know I'm a graphic designer and web designer, and I run my own design business, and this is where it operates from. And once again I can see another area that desperately needs a coat of paint, and that is the office door. So the model railway in there, the office in there, so it really couldn't be a better situation. So we can head into the office, and this is quite a small space, but this of course you'll recognize is where I do shoot a lot of my videos from. And the reason being, particularly during the winter months, it is just a lot warmer in here because I have one of these. So we've got my design desk over there, and some items that have kind of leaked through from the garage. The beginning of a locomotive shelf there, which is yet to be filled up with this stuff here. And a lot of this I haven't even actually opened yet, so there's quite a bit to get through with that. That's mostly locomotives that need chipping and so forth. And then if we head back over here, we've got this Scarborough British Railways poster, which I absolutely love. I do love the British Railways posters from the bygone days. They're just fascinating. But anyway, that is there purely as decoration for the drop down shelf, which hides more locomotives. And of course this is where I do my video footage from as well. And it also doubles as quite a good little workbench on those days where it's just too cold to be in the garage, and I can work on stuff in here. And hence why I do quite a lot of modular modeling, where most of the components on the layout are actually modeled up as modules that I can easily take off and bring in here, or God forbid even take inside to the kitchen table. Another wee shelf here that is kind of the beginnings of looking at some antique model railway stuff or model trains. And down here is the first model locomotive I ever had, which my dad bought for me. It was part of a Lima train set back in the early 80s. So what have we got over here? Just some small dioramas and some other bits and bobs of modelling gear as well. As you can see, I'm quite good at not putting stuff away. We've got our Cricut Joy vinyl cutter there, and then a very early cardboard model house that I made probably back in the 1980s of a house that I used to live in with my parents. So heading over this way, and as I mentioned, not putting stuff away, but underneath all of that is my programming track / test track, and that is actually controlled with JMRI and one of these little units here, and that is all worked through this computer. So screen there and sort of old Windows PC there, but it does a job for programming locomotives and testing locomotives, and I can also test locomotives on analog as well, so we have an analog controller there as well. So that's where the layout is located and where my office is, where a lot of modelling work is undertaken when I've got sick of doing design work. So there we have it. It's just a wee behind the scenes look at where the station road layout is located and in relation to, well, where I am right now, and we now know that the layout's just through that wall there. So you may have noticed in the video a couple of things on the layout. The back section was lifted up and you saw the wiring on the underside of that panel. So I'm currently actually going for a little bit of a fix up there, because I recently bought a locomotive that's just slightly higher than most other locomotives, and it gets itself stuck on one of the points on the underside. So I have to get that point motor out and actually modify it to be able to get a better clearance for this particular locomotive. So you may have also actually spotted some suitcases that were stacked up there in the garage. They don't normally live in the garage, they live in another shed that's out that way, but that's as far as they got after Sarah and I came back from our very short honeymoon trip that we did. And of course we couldn't do a honeymoon trip without taking a trip on a train. So as part of our trip we travelled on the Transalpine train that runs between here and Christchurch over to Greymouth, and of course it travels over the Southern Alps, and they do say it's probably one of the most scenic railway journeys in New Zealand, and also most scenic railway journeys around the world. So I'll leave you at the end of this video with just some short video clips that I took of our travels on the Transcenic railway journey across the Southern Alps of New Zealand. So I'll leave it there for this video. I certainly hope you've enjoyed this inside look into where the layout is, and it's given you a bit of a picture into where my model railway endeavours take place. So do take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. Of course, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Bye for now.